I am Nick O'Connell. I'm a partner in Altamimi & Company's Digital and Data Technology Media Telecommunications practice. I'm based in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, and I've been with the firm in Saudi and in Dubai for about 16 years.
How would you describe the current TMT landscape across the region?
So in terms of the current TMT landscape across the region, I would say that it's buoyant. I have a natural bias towards Saudi Arabia because that's where I'm based, and so I have a lot more insight around what's going on in Saudi Arabia. But I think that both in Saudi and across the region, we are at a stage where the technology available and things like the availability of data, etc., combine nicely with the need for the countries in our region to really upgrade their infrastructure, upgrade their public services, all of that type of thing. So I think it's sort of a perfect storm of the need in the countries in which we're operating, as well as the availability of the technology. So I was in Cairo a couple of weeks ago, and what I saw there was really interesting as well. Now, Cairo, Egypt, broadly is a different market again to the Gulf states. And what we're seeing in Egypt is investment in data centers, that type of thing. So again, a country with a different demographic, a different sort of proposition, very large population, very different to the Gulf Arab states, but still lots of opportunities in the tech space.
What factors contribute to growth in the broader technology, media and telecommunication sectors?
In terms of the factors that contribute to growth in the broader TMT sector, as well as the points that I've raised in terms of that perfect storm of the needs of the local economies and societies, and also where we are at a technological point in human development, I think one other key factor is that a lot of markets around the world are struggling, but they do see the potential for growth in the Middle East. So I think a combination of tech businesses, vendors, etc., from elsewhere in the region seeing the Middle East as a good market, but then the Middle East itself being a good market because of the appetite that it has for a lot of these technological developments.
Are there any new laws or regulatory updates that clients should look out for?
In terms of new laws and regulatory updates to look out for, there is a lot going on in the region. The data protection landscape is changing swiftly. So Saudi Arabia's data protection law, or the amendments to its data protection law, came out recently, and that law will come into effect in September. And that's an interesting development. So until the regulations issue, there's a lot of detail that needs to be added. But I think Saudi Arabia is just one example. Many of the countries in the region have new data protection laws. We've also seen development in terms of the cloud regulatory landscape. So there's quite a bit of movement there. For example, Kuwait has recently introduced a cloud computing regulatory framework. More broadly, what I can see happening is countries in the region moving towards perhaps regulating AI, or at least issuing guidelines to regulate the use of AI. AI is obviously a hot topic globally, and no less so in the Middle East.
AI is making a lot of headlines, in particular generative AI, such as ChatGPT. What is your view on this technology? What is
my view on the use of AI? It's one of those things that you can't hold back the tide. It's with us, and it's really just a matter of making sure that it's used in a way that doesn't result in the robot overlords controlling our lives. But I think, in all seriousness, I mean, even this morning in the paper, I read an article where a number of leading thinkers in this space have identified AI as a potential threat to humanity in the nature of global warming or nuclear weapons and so on. So essentially the implication being that AI is as great a risk as those other major global concerns. So I think we can't at all disregard AI. We need to appreciate that it's with us. We need to be conscious about using it wisely. And how that will pan out is difficult to say, but it's one of these things. In the workplace, we need to work out how to use it. In things like public policy, we need to, ensure that it's being used in a way that doesn't increase inequity and so on. So, yeah, look, I mean, we're at an early stage yet, and time will tell.
What jurisdiction do you see as a leader setting the benchmark for the TMT sector?
In terms of other trends in the market, what we are seeing is a little bit of a data center gold rush. A lot of countries around the region are their data center infrastructure and that whole industry associated with that is growing, and those are multi-billion-dollar investments. They're not, it's not small-scale projects. So that's interesting. Maybe in the future there'll be a glut of data centers across the Middle East, because at the moment there's certainly not. That's a bit of a trend, and it will be interesting to see how it pans out in the market.